Hello, Kelly here with Kelly Sroka Life. And today I want to introduce you to something that I'm going to call the cauldron. And this idea just has been kind of flowing around in my mind for the past few days. And I think today is when I'm going to finally put it into practice. I've been over the last probably 6 months, probably since the new year started. I have been working each cycle with four different items, magical items. And I've wanted to do this because I feel like that I have and I think I've spoken to this a few times before, but I have a kind of, I feel like a surface level relationship with a lot of the things that I have around me. There are decks that I've gotten and I've never worked with. There are crystals that really intrigue me, but I've never taken the time to really study them in depth. I'm starting to learn herbalism, and so I'm starting to make my own teas and really get into using herbs in healing. So these are things, and there are some things I've gone in depth in, like tarot, definitely something that is very deep for me, and um, for astrology, that's something that is I've gone very deep into, and so I feel like I have done a lot of work in with astrology, and of course with Reiki, I've gone through all the Reiki certifications, and I'm a Reiki master and teacher. So I want to have, bring that depth that I feel in these other areas into some things that I have around me that I just want to keep studying. Now I have done a crystal healing course, and that was very much about and so I use crystals a lot with my Reiki healing, and they go hand in hand. But just learning about crystals and learning about them in just kind of a magical way, how to use them in spells and how to use them in magical ways and how to use them in different ways. So those are things, and I've got a lot of books, and I've got also got a lot of books that I've gotten, I've collected over the years, and some of them I've read, and some of them I haven't read. And there's a lot of them that I really like to read, but I just think, well, I'll get to it. I'll one day, I'll get to that book. And so this year, I've made a conscious effort to do less screen time and more reading time because, before I had a cell phone and before things were on the phone all the time, I used to read a lot. I mean, I probably read um, just, tons of books every year and have a library of books downstairs of books that I have read. And I used to do that a lot. I used to read all the time. And so now I would rather, I find myself with my phone in my hand, and whereas I used to be that I would have a book in my hand. And so that's one of the things that I really want to focus on and do more of. So those are the kind of the reasons that I've come up with this idea of the cauldron. So I've come up with this idea because I've started to think about, well, what are ways that I can make the things that I'm doing and the things that are around me, how can I make that more witchy and make it into a study so that I'm getting something out of it. And so I have been doing for it since the new moon, I guess in Capricorn, I started then. And so every new moon cycle, I've been doing four specific studies. So I study a deck, I study a crystal, I study an herb, and I read a book. And most of the books are pretty, I mean, they're ones that you can get through easily in a month. And so they're ones, and usually I end up reading, two or three more books because I usually have a book like a fiction book going on somewhere else, and then I'm reading maybe a guidebook for a deck, or I'm reading something specific for something specific that I've been interested in. But just in general, I just wanted to read something witchy and have something that I wanted to do every month. So these four things seem to really go together. So I started doing those things, and I started thinking, well, how can I keep a record of them, and how can I make sure that I keep up with the things that I'm doing? And so I started two kind of different record keeping things. Now, I used to be a big scrapbooker. I used to scrapbook a lot, and and I still do a little bit. But I took my scrapbooking skills and I turned it into this kind of scrapbooky book of shadows or grimoire, or whatever term that you use it. I've been using book of shadows for this one. And so this is what I did in the Taurus new moon cycle. So I studied dandelion and black opal. And then I also had a book and a deck that I went along with that. And I don't remember which ones I did for that particular month, for that particular cycle, but I'll have to look back at them. But I did use these. I used this deck review sheet, and I used this book review sheet. And I also went even deeper with the deck review and did a deck study guide. Now, this is just for tarot decks. And so if you wanted to use this one is just it's geared towards tarot decks. And I'll probably do a separate one that's geared towards just decks in general. But because you could use it for, for any kind of card deck. But this is for tarot. And then the book review, can be any kind of book. And this deck review can be any kind of deck. So it can just be, any kind of deck that you want to work with. But I have these things. I have all these things here. And I wanted to be able to share them. I wanted to be able to share them with other people, because a lot of these decks and books and crystals and herbs I've worked with have just been wonderful. And some of them have been challenging, but some of them have been really wonderful. And now I want to share all that. I want to share that in this group. So I want to have a place that has all of these tools that I have for this study, so that you can follow along and you can do this with me. And eventually I would like to have a book for each, a workbook for each new moon. But I'm not quite there yet. I've tried it a couple of times, and it's just been a little bit overwhelming. And I don't want to make this practice overwhelming. I want to make it that it flows and that it's beautiful and that it's something that I really enjoy. So I'm going to put a place somewhere on my computer that's going to be a virtual cauldron. And so it will have all of these tools and things in them. And when I add Book of Shadows, when I add sheets to it, when I make up study guides or study sheets, then I can put that in this cauldron, and it's going to be there for everyone to use. And so you can use it, look at it, print it, however you want to use it, put it in your own Book of Shadows, use it for inspiration for your own studies, however you want to do it. So that is what I'm going to introduce. And so the cauldron, I'll have some links down and some explanation in the description, but I will also have some things that you can do to follow along for what I'm doing and studying for this moon cycle. So the things that I'm doing for this moon cycle is the herb that I'm working with is chickweed. And I have chickweed that grows in the yard, but I also have some dried chickweed that I've been working with. And And I mix it, I usually make my own tea. So I'll put some green tea in and then mix some herbs in that I feel like that I want to use that day. And so I've been working with chickweed, having just tasting it on its own. What does it taste like? Doing some research. What did people used to use chickweed for? And so I'm doing some studies for that and just kind of keeping some notes. And so then I'll be able to put an entry in my Book of Shadows for that. So chickweed is the first one. The crystal that I'm using is this crystal. This is Howlite. And so I'm studying Howlite. And this is just a beautiful crystal. It kind of has a matte finish and it looks it's not really shiny, but I mean this is a tumbled stone, so it has some shine to it. But it to me is just the crystal itself is almost like a matte, and it's got this beautiful marbling in it. And so I want to study it and really go in depth because I have a couple of pieces of it, but I've never really studied howlite, and it's uh, it's something that I just want to know more about and to find out more about. So I'm going to use howlite. The book that I'm reading is Dark Goddess Craft by Stephanie Woodfield, and this is it's meant, and I didn't really realize it until I started reading it, but it's meant to be a year-long study. It goes through, I think it's 13 gods or goddesses, and and it's for you to study and to work with them one each month. But what I think I'm going to do is just read the whole thing, and then if I want to go back and do the study, I might start that next month and just work that into my study working with, because the first one that's here that you work with is, I believe it's the Morgan. And since I do already do a lot of work with the Morgan, then um, then it's something I can add into my work. I can figure out, because yeah, the Morgan is the first one, and then the second one is, I believe, it's a Hindu god that I knew nothing about. So then I'm going to read about all of them, and if there's ones that I really want to go back to and put into a practice, then I can add it in maybe a monthly practice and put that as well. And so and see if I like her style and see if I like the things that she writes about. But it'll be, first of all, just a really good way to get to know some of the goddesses better, because it's you can always go deeper, even when you think you know everything there is to know about a goddess or god. Then there's always deeper things of somebody else's take on it and practices with it. And so that is really fascinating to me. So I'm really interested in that book. And so I've got chickweed as my herb, howlite as my herb or as my crystal, Dark Goddess Craft as the book. And then I'm also working with, this is the Victorian fairy deck. Now, this is the original version that I got from a friend that was downsizing. And so I I have this original version, and you'll see it as the Victorian Fairy, Fairy. And so then there is a new release, a new version that just came out not too long ago. And you can actually get that. I think it's from the authors on her website, and I'll put a link to that too. But this is the deck that I'm working with, the older one. So I have the guidebook, and I'm reading through the guidebook, and I'll do some, the deck review, and I'll do the kind of at the beginning, I usually do the 1 page deck review. And then if I feel like I want to do deeper, then I'll go into the the whole study. If I feel like that I want to do the whole study, then I will do this one. So that is how I'm doing it. And what I'm doing with the deck study is reading the guidebook, doing the 1 page deck review, and using it. And I'm using the deck for any readings that I have this, and I usually do a daily reading of some kind. So I put it through its paces and see how it works in different kinds of readings, because I do usually on Monday I do a moon reading. On Tuesday I might do an astrology reading. On Wednesday, one day a week I'll do a reading with a goddess, or usually and then one day a week I'll do a reading with the Morrigan. And so I'll do a week ahead on Sundays. I do a week ahead spread. So I really, there's at least 5 or 6 times a week that I'm using the deck and using it in different ways to see how it speaks to me and see how I like the deck. And I'll also read the guidebook and make sure that I am reading, that I know, the background and know the cards, and I really like to find out about the author and find out about the artist and the art. And so, and reading the guidebook is always a good way to do that. So that is how I'm doing my monthly or cyclically study, a moon study for this moon cycle for the Cancer new moon, and the things that I'm studying. I'll leave all this information there, but I just wanted to let you know about the cauldron, and I'll let you know when I add things to it so that you can go and do these things as well. So as we go along, the next videos will be talking about different ways. I'll have a video on Howlite, and I'll have a video on Chickweed, and I'll have probably some pages for you to download or use if you want to. I'll have some updates on the book as I get through it, and I'll have some updates on the deck as I'm going through it, and probably do a few readings here and there with the deck to see how it works, and to see how it works for for other people as well. So I hope that you are as excited about this as I am, because I'm very excited. This practice has really been fulfilling for me. I've gotten so much read. I've connected with decks. I've not connected with decks, but I've still studied them, and I've learned a lot from it. I've learned more about herbs, and it's just been it's a great experience. And as we go along, I might add some gods and goddess work maybe along with it. But for right now, I just wanted to stick to these 4 things, to make it so that I could get into it and get used to what I am doing. So this is it for now, and I'll have all the information down in the description box so that you can follow along. And I'll probably this month, this moon cycle, will probably not have a calendar of things that I'm going to do each time, because I'm just really getting into it. But I'll let you know when things come up, and you can always subscribe so that you'll know when a new video comes out. And usually I post on Facebook when the new video comes out, and I'll try to do some on Instagram as well, put some descriptions of things that I'm doing, some pictures that I have, and if I do a reading that I think that I want to share, then I'll put that as well. So all of those things will be down there. And I am setting myself up to do, you can go if you want to do a tarot reading, an astrology reading, or a Reiki healing session. I have all of those on my website, which is always linked in the description. So if you're interested in any of those readings, then just go on my website, and you can always message me. You can sign up for the 15-minute free chat, or however you want to do that. And I'm going to, in this next month or so, have a setup so that you can do an email reading. So that if you have a question and you just want to be able to go online, ask the question, email it to me. It'll be kind of like a form that you fill out, email it to me, and I will give you most likely a video response, because I feel like that to write out a response is sometimes it really misses the nuance and things. So, but you can just do it by email. We don't have to do it face to face. You can do it, whenever you want. You don't have to worry about my schedule and your schedule. you can just do that and I'll get it back to you in video form and so that you can have an answer. And then if you want to go further, we can always set up a time to do that as well. But this is this is what is happening for this new moon in Cancer. So I just wanted to let you know about the cauldron. So look for that. I'll have some links and some things already in it and start adding to it as we go along. So again, thank you for being here. And if you like it, subscribe. And I would love to hear from you. Anything that you're doing this new moon cycle, then just let me know. And I will see you again later. Bye.